And welcome to Love and Stuff. I am excited that you are here, and I hope that you will click share whether you are watching us here live from the Love and Stuff community page from which we're emanating tonight, the Marcus R. Holmes page on Facebook, or Twitch TV and YouTube events as HR Passion Guy. I'm excited to have you here, and thank you so much. Will you take a moment and click share and tag 5 of your closest Facebook friends or YouTube connections or Twitch TV followers, 5 of the more popular ones, to join in, excuse me, tonight's discussion. Oh, that was a sneeze. Right on camera. Couldn't avoid it. Okay. So it's live. You see how that goes. All right. And so thank you for joining us. And we're going to take a look back at some of the happenings of this year. So much has happened. I don't know about you in your life, but in mine and in the world around me, even with the iconic personhood of Bishop Desmond Tutu, the one of the greats of our generation and time from our motherland, uh, recently, all the way back all year long, right? And you may have many names that you can call out for which there wasn't a memorial or tribute necessarily for their names. So speak their names right now. and even some within the Love and Stuff community who we've had to say goodbye to. Some after valiant suffrage with battles with their health, and some who slipped away very quickly without very much announcement to us. And so, just a year of a lot of things. Drop in the comments of the things that maybe you've experienced in the year. And I'm going to take a moment and click share and tag some folks to join us in tonight's sharing. I think it's important as you go forward into this 2020, if we're all blessed to do it, to just take a quick look back. So many things have happened from all types of shows. You know, we've had some really great viewership, and we appreciate that. We're always looking to make it grow during this pandemic. It has been impacted in the pandemic, but we keep going. And just thinking about some of the top rated shows, the show on You Got Mail, and which we will do a replay of during the season. And Tamuk Scruggs' Journey to Africa was one of our top shows. Move Out, Mother in Love was the top rated show. And so all of those. And I am going to just tag some folks to join us in today's discussion. All right. And I hope you will click share and tag some folks. Bilal Muhammad is watching us. Click share, Bilal, and share this across your platforms to have folks join us, whether you're on the Marcus R. Holmes page or Love and Stuff page, Twitch TV, or YouTube events. We're grateful that you're here. And so click share as we're tagging folks to join us. I'm asking that all of you will join us and tag some folks to join us in what is going to be a great evening. All right. So I'm going to go to, because we've had from shows from on sexual agreements to the 1 year later of George Floyd show. You should go back and watch that. Self-care, many self-care episodes as we're going into a new year about self-care. Forever X and Your Ex Forever, those shows from breast cancer to the rituals of love. We've had a lot of ground that has been covered here in the Love and Stuff community. And so I thank you for all that you have done to help to contribute to these wonderful shows, these wonderful topics, many of them straight from the inbox, which is how we started the show, but some other topics that we thought, like breast cancer, was important to bring forward. And you'll be hearing more about that sister circle for those that are just need to have someone, maybe they didn't have a sister who they could talk to about testing, or needed someone to talk to them as they walk through that testing. So many wonderful opportunities. And just going all the way back to the beginning of the year, I'm just going to play an excerpt now of one show, which was our Martin Luther King. We started out celebrating the King in our Martin Luther King show. And so here's a clip from that Martin Luther King show that just gives a tidbit, and we'll be doing that throughout the evening with some pre-recorded content. So click share and tag some folks to join us. The marvelous new militancy which has engulfed the Negro community must not lead us to a distrust of all white people, for many of our white brothers, as evidenced by their presence here today, have come to realize that their destiny is tied up with our destiny. And I thought about all of the great work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. that day. And I thought to read more of some of his work. And I read this that I'll share. This will be the day when all of God's children will all be able to sing with new meaning, "My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty. Of thee I sing, land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring." And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. And so let freedom ring from the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire. Let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York. Let freedom ring from the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania. Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And when this happens, and when we allow freedom to ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, Black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last. One day, if we come together, we may be free at last. I leave you with this before I bring the panel for our close. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. And so, beloved community, love and stuff community, we have the work of love and the work of light to do. I'm so excited that you have shared with us in this almost 2 hours. And I just wanted to bring back a few of our panelists to join us before we close out. Valerie Colbert Osamwadi, Brenda Braceful, Darren Williams. It says Mahalia Jackson, but I know it's Pastor Valencia Edner, who did a fantastic job. I am just thankful for all of the orations, and of course, Arya Moody and Ursula Merritt and Richard Dickey Mason and all. But I wanted to bring the 4 of you back because your 4 faces are faces I think of in our Love and Stuff community as we continue to hold these conversations, because I believe tomorrow is the holy day, but the hallowed work begins after the holy day. And I think that we all have some individual responsibility to pay our rent of service. And I will be looking for you to help us share with those in the Love and Stuff community ways that we can pay our rent of service in the work, the hallowed work that is before us. So I just wanted to give each of you a chance to just have a final word to say. I'll start with Valerie Colbert Osamwadi. Thank you so much for just a final quick word, and then we'll go to Brenda, we'll go to Darren, Pastor, Reverend Darren, and then Pastor Valencia.
A final quick word in memorializing this man's legacy. That's what you're asking?
Yes, ma'am.
I will continue to say, first of all, vote, because that's a continuous call to civic engagement and a continuous call to change and service. But I would, and again, my next would be to join some kind of community group that espouses or that continues Dr. King's work. And while I was reading, I was just struck about the new campaign on poverty that is emerging with Bishop, his name is escaping me now, in
William
the South. Yes. And I know for a fact I'm going to be seeking out some group, because that touched my heart, some group that will allow me to serve somehow that community.
Thank you for that, Val. Brenda Braceful, thank you so much for being with us. I enjoy what I call consuming your mind. I love to consume you and Val's mind. And so thank you for your presence today. What words might you offer us about how we can memorialize this memory and pay our rent, which is that service is the rent that we should pay?
I think we should recognize, as Dr. King says, the time is always right to do what is right. And not only do we need to recognize the power to vote, we also need to recognize the power of contribution. If we don't do anything more than send $5 to a candidate, recognize that people in this day and age of politics, it takes money to run an election. Get involved, volunteer your time, hand out flyers, talk to people in your circle, and more importantly, if 10 people give $5 a piece. That may be enough for somebody to help air a commercial to get their name out there in the public. So get involved.
Okay, thank you for that, Brenda. Reverend Darren Williams, thank you for, I know that you put in the comments, there are 2 parts of the Birmingham letter that you neglected to mention. Please share that with us and then tell us what about the hallowed work moving forward? How do we memorialize the work after the Holy Day?
Oh, very good. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. It's always wonderful to remember what is worthy. And it is always great for those to have the mind to do it. So blessings to you, sir. 2 things I neglected to mention about the letter from the Birmingham jail. Dr. King did not have materials, paper particularly, to write on. He used the margins of the newspaper that the letter was printed to castigate him, and the empty spaces. And when he ran out of that, he used toilet paper and paper towel to pen the first parts of these letters. The second thing is that the year later, 1964, when the Civil Rights Bill was drafted, his letter was used as the basis and the outline. And now imagine that. I'm going to let you deal with it on your own, that his letter was used by the Congress of the United States to do that. How we move forward. Let me share that in this post that I made about him on his birthday. A real, true, and great American was born 92 years ago today. And somehow he looked into the U.S. Constitution and mystically saw himself in it. He was born a reformer, as his name reveals. He grew up in a time that needed a voice because the wilderness of America was crying for one. He lived as a prophet and the moral conscience of a nation. He would cry loud and cause a reverberating echo that has and cannot yet be silenced until justice rolls down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream. He died because he was right. And here it is right here. He died because he was right about those and that which was wrong. And he couldn't be quiet. He literally gave all he had for the cause of truth, justice, freedom, and love. For him, it all was one call, even though he knew it would cost him everything. I'm not convinced that we even understand him yet. 58 years after his death, in my estimation, he and Jesus Christ are the 2 most misunderstood people to walk across the breast of human history. Some people and their work we don't remember. Some people and their work we should never forget. Nationally, he will be commemorated, celebrated, and talked about this weekend and on Monday. Hollow and half-hearted salutation will be spoken in his honor, which is tragic because he may be the greatest single contributor to our struggle. The current social political climate in America again proves how sadly we failed by not listening and heeding his message. He sleeps now, but the applause of being hails the man who was more awake than we all. My suggestion to us in that, very simple. We've got to give it all. He sacrificed all. And if we believe in freedom for ourselves that way, we've got to sacrifice it all.
Thank you for that, Reverend Darren. I appreciate it, Darren Williams. Pastor Valencia, closing thoughts. And what do we do after the Holy Day tomorrow? What do we do as the hallowed work?
I'm in agreement that there are things we must do. But I think that our challenge that I think that Dr. King showed us at every turn was he challenged us to think beyond the surface, beyond what we saw just hovering over the surface. When he says things like the ultimate measurement of a man is not how he responds in times of comfort, but in times of difficulty. I think that's a challenge for us, even right now, how we will respond to the things that we see, that the measurement of who we are becomes more important than the accolades or the press of what we do, because
Thank you all so much for joining us. It's Marcus Holmes. I'm here live. And that was an excerpt as we look back at the year in review of our Martin Luther King presentation. And so you got to see Valerie Colbert Osamwadi, Brenda Braceful, Darren Williams, and Valencia Etner, and many others that participated all hour long. We're going to be just going back through some of the moments that were pivotal moments. As I mentioned at the outset, we had some shows that really garnered great attention, and we wanted to go back to some of them just to share with you as we prepare to look forward. We wanted you to look forward. Thank you, Lita Evans, for joining us. Latasha Little, thank you so much again. Bilal Muhammad, thank you for those. Patrick PD, who has joined us on the Love and Stuff page. Thank you all for joining. I hope you will click share and tag someone to join us. As we go to this next clip, you saw Darren Williams in our Martin Luther King celebration. And did you know that for the entire month of February this year, every day in the month of February, we did a Black History moment, just about an hour of Black History factoids, and we did different topics in different areas. So I want you to hear Darren in an excerpt of this Black History Month. He has really served as a voice of Africana for us. And so you will learn and be blessed if you didn't get a chance to see it. It was one of our more popular views. And I wanted to bring a few of those back to you in this hour as we prepare to go into 2022. And I know that you are. We should take a moment to look back. Look back over the triumphs and trials. Look back over the victories and spoils and defeats. Look back over the losses and the gains and the memories so that we can learn from those, assess those, celebrate those, and prepare to spring forward from those. And so I'm going to share with you an excerpt for that. And then I'm going to tell you a lot of the different things that have been happening in Love and Stuff. So I'm going to be flashing some faces and telling you a little bit about their stories of things that have happened to them in this year. And I've tagged some of them. So hopefully they will join us in the room at some point. But I'm going to tag them because some of the things that they have overcome or done or achieved, you can do the same. It's not too late for you to start and embark upon the next best for you, the next level for you. And so we're just taking a look back of what we have seen here in the Love and Stuff community to share with you. This is Darren Williams sharing from our Black History Month moments. I'm excited that he's here. I'm excited that.
Thank you. Well, as has been said, this month is the month for celebrating Black history and African American heritage, and again for Love and Stuff to think it not robbery to be able to dedicate a focus on what our history and our heritage has been about and is becoming and will be. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful way to add African American Black history back to the respectful column of history. And I am delighted to be a part of that. Tonight will be a focus on, as have been said, African American preachers, scholars who have made a mark on not just the church world, not just religion itself, but on the world itself. In fact, if you have watched the PBS series that has aired, I think Wednesday night, maybe Tuesday night and Wednesday night this week, called The Black Church, a documentary done by Dr. Henry Louis Gates, at least three of the people that I'm going to talk about on here with us tonight were mentioned in that documentary because they have been giants and influence makers in the faith and in the history of African American people. And so we will begin, very interestingly and maybe untraditionally. I want to first talk about a preacher of the female species. There's so much talk, and even it was done on the documentary about how the church, especially African American church, has had such a difficult time with women, the question of the issue of women in ministry. I want to start tonight on this Black History Focus to talk about one of those preaching women who was not just a preacher. However, she was also a theologian. She was an ethicist. She was a civil rights activist. Prathia Hall is her name. And there's a treat for you. You can actually find a clip of her preaching on YouTube. Not too long myself came across her and her incredible ministry and incredible personage. I took a class a couple of years ago, completing a master's in theology program, a class on the Black church. And she was Black preaching, I'm sorry, excuse me. And she was actually one of the featured preachers on that. And the professor showed us a clip of her. It's actually an audio clip, had that clip of her preaching. And it was a treat to behold. Prathia Hall is her name again. Later on, she married, last name became Wynn. So Prathia Wynn is one of the ways that you may be able to look her up and find where and who she is. She was born into a family of preaching. Her father was actually a pastor who founded the Mount Sharon Baptist Church in Philadelphia in 1938. They were originally from Virginia, but relocated to Philadelphia, where she grew up. Her first experience with racial segregation came 1945 when she was 5 years old. She took a train from Philadelphia, her sister and her mother, back to Virginia to visit grandparents. And when they crossed the Mason-Dixon line, many of you may have never heard of what that is, but it's actually not a physical demarcation line, but it's a line between the Pennsylvania and Maryland border that separates what is considered the South in America from what is considered to be the North. It was more specifically a dividing line between what were slave states and free states. Maryland was the South, Pennsylvania at that time, then the North. But Hall later attended high school, a high school for girls there in Philadelphia, graduated in 1958 and went directly into Temple University, where she received a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science. While she was a student at Temple University, the early 60s, she began to participate in the civil rights movement. And on November 11th, 1961, she and 10 other demonstrators from their school, from Temple, were arrested for sitting in at a Barnes drive-in restaurant in Annapolis, Maryland. She joined SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, which John Lewis was the president of, and Stokely Carmichael was also a member. She began working with fellow SNCC member Charles Sherwood in Southwest Georgia during the Albany movement. Her involvement continued in the civil rights movement, and she is actually credited, this is one of those little known facts, but it was discussed again in the video on the Black church, the documentary. There was a rally that they were having there in Georgia. Dr. King was, of course, there to speak. They were organizing and speaking. She was called on to pray. Prathia Hall was. And as she prayed, she started this ad-lib in her prayer, and I have a dream. And she talked about what her dream was in terms of the realities of our country. And I have a dream. I have a dream. Ironically, she was the person to take Dr. King to the airport. And as she was driving him, he said to her that, I like that, what you said about that dream. I'm going to use that. And you'll see in the documentary that she was actually asked about that exchange between them. And she related the story that it was her creative brainchild to talk about I Have a Dream that Dr. King popularized first in his march in Detroit in 1963, but most famously in August later that year in 1963, which the world actually knows him about. And the rest of what he filled in was his own. But the concept of I Have a Dream came from this preacher, Prathia Hall. You do yourselves well to study up on her to find out about who she is. The next preacher that I want to lift up before us is a giant of a man when it comes to the realm of theological studies and ministry altogether. When African Americans enter into seminary, it's not too long before we are introduced to the likes of this man, Dr. Howard Thurman. I had to do a book review of his a couple of weeks ago, and talked about how that before I became a preacher, I came across who he was. And it took me some years, once I did enter into ministry, to start collecting his library, because the older preachers said to us, man, if you don't have the Howard Thurman library, you ain't really no preacher. And so it was important for us as African Americans, and still is to this day, for new preachers, seminary preachers, to be able to say that they do own volumes of Howard Thurman's books. Let me just try to remember some of them. The Centering Moment is one of them. With Head and with Heart is another one of them. And then his most famous, which I did the book report on, a review rather, a couple of weeks ago, Jesus and the Disinherited. It's a fascinating book. It's one in which Thurman actually explores, as he explains, the identity of Jesus as a person. And he uses this wonderful language, this descriptor of coming from a people with their backs against the wall. And so he explains and explores Jesus as this kind of person, a disinherited person, and how in and through his identity and his ministry, those who are people with their backs against the wall, who are disinherited, how they have hope and have life and have a way in and through Jesus Christ.
That was Darren Williams, a staple in our Love and Stuff community from our Black History Moments as we reviewed last year. I'm Marcus Holmes, and thank you for tuning in, whether you're watching us live on the Marcus R. Holmes page, where we're emanating from, the Love and Stuff community page. If you're watching us inside of Love and Stuff or any of the love groups that we're connected to, if you're with us on YouTube events or on Twitch TV, click share and tag 5 of your closest friends or connections, 5 of your more popular friends or followers to join us. We are doing this year in review and reviewing some of the more popular shows, excerpts of them, just to go back through our year. As we were putting the year together and different show ideas were coming, we decided to look back at our most popular show at that time. In our first year, our most popular show was about this next clip, this woman, Kenyatta Roxanne. And she has been a day one member of the Love and Stuff community, who is an author and authored a book about her own experience in one of her marriages. Quite a riveting experience in that marriage. And we want to share a clip. At that time, it was the highest rated, highest viewed show in the Love and Stuff cauldron of shows, if you will. It's been replaced by others since then, but it has been a well-known show, a well-watched show. And just a short clip out of that, I want you to go back to watch that show. Go to the Love and Stuff page where all of that library of video is, and watch the show about Kenyatta Roxanne, who was in a relationship from her standpoint, that was an abusive relationship and for which she needed to escape. We want to show just a clip of our interview when we looked back at where she is now that we did earlier this year. We're taking a look back in the Love and Stuff community at some of the shows that have been very popular and just sharing them as we prepare to go into the next year. Thank you, Ned Adams. Thank you, Ali Johnson, Brian, Tammy Williams for joining us, Jan Holmes Boyd, Leonard Forrest, Valencia, Sheila Tate. Thank you. Happy Merry Christmas, Happy New Year from Texas. She's saying thank you so much. And we're just going to share this clip with you right now. Us on our platform for the first time, and one of the most viewed shows to date. So how fitting it is that we released our book today, and she is coming on the show today, kind of as a "Where Are You Now?" And I'm excited to have her on the show. I was excited to have her back then. I'm still excited to have her now, but I just thought about it. Here is the first author that we presented, and now I'm an author presenting, and it's the same date. Look, to God be the glory. And so I'm bringing in a member of our Love and Stuff community whose face we've seen over the years, and we're happy to see it again today, Kenyatta Roxanne. Welcome, Kenyatta Roxanne.
Hi, Marcus.
How are you? I can hear you fine.
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm great. The screen is a little blurry for us on your side, but I'm looking on the phone. It looks great on the phone. So maybe it's just my screen here. Okay. Kenyatta, it is so good to see you and have you. I know that, life has taken you in a lot of different directions. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to have you on as a Where Are You Now? And I know people think when they hear Where Are You Now? With a certain kind of expectation. But my expectation of a Where Are You Now? Is just to catch up with where you are now.
Okay.
And so having said that, it's been 3 years, 4 years since you've been on the show, a lot of visibility around the show, a very sensitive topic on the show. Mm-hmm. Do you regret sharing that day on the show with us? Because I'm thankful to you because it was one of the most viewed shows even today. So how do you feel about having shared something that personally with our viewing audience?
I don't regret being on the show. I think that being on the show made it so that more people knew about the book, but then people could actually ask me questions. Mm-hmm. People who are going through similar things, or people mm-hmm. they know were going through similar things, mm-hmm. They were actually able to talk to a person mm-hmm. In the open about that. And I was glad to be there for all of the people. I've helped a lot of people when it comes to this book. A lot of women have been coming to me through email, through inbox. I've really touched a lot of people. So no, there's no way I could regret that. My test was my testimony, and it was something that was a blessing for other women. So, yeah.
And let me say, I'm so proud that you did it. I think it took great courage to be able to do that because, mm-hmm. Your ex-husband is still around, right? So, to share details and just, out of transparency, I'm Kenyatta's daughter's goddad, though I don't get to see her we don't see each other that often, but that is my goddaughter. And so I've not afforded him an opportunity to share his side on this platform. So I just wanted to be clear. I know there are multiple sides to a story because people have their own truth and own experiences, but I just felt that this was the appropriate way to go because I knew what you're just saying was what was going to happen, that there were women that were going to reach out to you and women that would need your counseling. Because Kenyatta, what I'm finding in doing this Love and Stuff, while I'm amazed at how transparent people are, most people don't want it to leave the light of the inbox. They are fearful in some regards of retaliation or the shame or the guilt? Why did you stay so long? The condemnation. What would you say to women, and what have you been saying to women who are afraid to come forward and say, hey, I've been in a situation that was verbally abusive, or it was physically abusive, or emotionally abusive? What do you say to women who are afraid to come forward?
You have to take the fear and just keep going. This is a courageous thing to do. I don't pat myself on the back. This has not been an easy road. It's not going to be an easy road. But when you do it, every day you're more and more proud of yourself for getting yourself out of a situation that could have turned even worse than it was. I tell women to think of themselves years down the line. How are you going to look back at the situation and say, I should have got out. I should have got out a long time ago. What did I do to myself? Think of your older self looking back, proud of you for giving her a chance to get to her dreams. I mean, I was held down in so many of my dreams, so many things I wanted to do, so many goals that I had. I wasn't allowed to do it. And now I'm doing it. And I deserve that. I owe that to myself. I've worked hard in a lot of areas of my life, education, career, being a parent, and I deserve to finally reap the benefits of what I worked so hard for. And I couldn't do it where I was. So I owe that to myself. And I tell these women, you owe it to yourself. If you're not going to fight for yourself, who's going to fight for you?
That was Kenyatta Roxanne, an excerpt of her interview of Where You Are Now. And just the backstory of that interview. Of course, she's the author of He Tried to Kill Me, the story of a Christian wife. He Tried to Kill Me, excuse me, the untold story of a modern day Christian wife. And that is still available on Amazon. And thank you, Kenyatta, for one of the highest rated shows. And thank you for coming back and telling us where you are now. And she is in a loving, wholesome, healthy relationship now. And we wish her the best. We are taking a look back over this last year. Some of the more popular shows, we pulled some excerpts from them and are sharing with you, because I think it's important to take a look back to see where you are, where you have been, what you have accomplished, what you haven't, what you've experienced, how you've triumphed, how you've made it through trials, how you've made it to test or through test, or maybe didn't pass the test first time round, so that as you sharpen your perspective for the next year, you get a chance to look back. So Love and Stuff is doing the same thing. And we have had so many different things that have occurred in this year. And I'm going to get to some of the people inside of the Love and Stuff community, some of the things that are happening with them and have happened with them. And I am excited for them and with them. We're going to move on to another thing that happened in the year. We expanded, right? And so Love and Stuff has a couple of different offerings, that we do. And our newest offering is Sports Talk with Kamal Williams and Felix Holmes. And so they host a bi-weekly show every Saturday, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, and all of the other time zones where you may be. And they talk all things sports, because we know that we got good brothers in Love and Stuff, and some sisters who want to meet some good brothers in Love and Stuff. And a lot of people enjoy sports, and not only just the brother sisters. We got people like Dr. Ramona Cox and others who are in the Love and Stuff space who love sports and are sports enthusiasts. And so we embarked upon a new show. And so this next clip is from that very first show with Kamal, who is an associate producer of the Love and Stuff community. And we're proud of him and all that he is doing. And so I want to play that first clip, a pretty short clip of him in his first show. I could tell he was getting into his druthers, getting it, but I'm so proud of Kamal. He is also from Detroit, but he's a transplant to Texas. And so very proud of him. Here's a clip of Kamal Williams in our newest show, the first show during March Madness of Sports Talk with Kamal and Felix.
All righty. I want to straight to some great topics that I wanted to, first and foremost, being the Wolverines. Right now, brought in a little bit of controversy, a great season on the court, kind of marred a little bit recently with the actions of their head coach, Mr. Juwan Howard. And they also had a player that's been injured that's kind of slowing them down from being probably a 1 seed to a 2 seed right now, going up into the tournament. I don't know what you guys' feelings and what you think about him almost getting to a literal fist fight with the other coach, going across the court and having to be held back by players and coaches. At the beginning of the season, I spoke to a couple of buddies of mine. I told them that Juwan Howard coaches like he plays. He's still a bit too much on the emotional side, where he needs to be more on the cerebral side now that he's a coach. And other guys who played and coached kind of agree with me. It's not that I'm quote unquote hating on him. I want to see him do well. I'm a very big fan of him and him being in the Fab Five. And full disclosure, I went to Michigan State, but growing up in the city of Detroit, that's all you had was University of Michigan. And so, and Michigan State basketball a little, but football you didn't have Michigan State at all. You had Bo Schembechler and everything University of Michigan coming out, the Free Press and all the TV stations and the Detroit News, because it wasn't there closer in proximity, and two, everybody loved all things Michigan. That's where we got the term Walmart Wolverine, because everybody loves the University of Michigan, even though no one, a good 90% of the people never set foot on their campus. But that's how it is. You have your team that you're going to love, and that's a part of the whole thing. Myself, I think that he may be in a little bit of trouble. If he did actually honestly say, hey, I'll kill you, that can get him suspended. And if he were having a bad season, that could probably get him fired. The question is, when will the suspension come down from the NCAA, or will it come from the Big Ten? Because I can remember back in the day, there was John Chaney over at Temple. He threatened John Calipari in an open forum, chased after him, told him, I'll kill you. And they suspended him for a good little while. And this was in the 80s. So with this cancel culture, what's he going to be looking at in terms of what his punishment is going to be? If you go back and look at the press conferences for both the coaches, both their stories kind of matched up. And I'm still interested in understanding what the coach said. This has been going on for the first two games as well. I wonder what this is. As he said, he's already contacted the Big Ten offices for that. I hope that more than anything, from what I can probably see is going to happen, is that incident hopefully won't take any momentum away from the University of Michigan team as they go into the tournament. Momentum is kind of a fragile thing when you're traveling, when you're playing basketball, and you get a player down and your coach get into a little bit of controversy. But sometimes good teams circle the wagons really well, and the question is, will they be circling the wagon moving forward with that situation? And I don't know if anybody's on in the chat or want to come in at all. I do see some Go Blues. I do want to see that they stay successful. It's good for the state. It's good for the region. It's good for all those involved in our area to have teams that are successful. I know basketball-wise, Michigan State's been holding that candle for a while. Even though with Beeline, Michigan they go to the championship twice in the last 10 years. But in terms of winning the actual Big Ten, they haven't been quite as successful. But it's great to have a rivalry like that, Michigan State and Michigan, such in a way as North Carolina and Duke, which we'll talk about in just a few more minutes down the road. I like to have that.
We love to have that. More of Kamal Williams, who is he and Felix Holmes are the newest offering video cast, Sports Talk with Kamal and Felix. Thank you, Lena Brown, for joining us. Craig Turner, thank you both for joining us. I hope you will click share, and others of you that are watching with us on YouTube events and Twitch TV and on the Love and Stuff community page, please click share and tag 5 of your closest Facebook friends, Twitch TV or YouTube connections, 5 of the more popular ones. We're reviewing 2021 of some of the more popular shows. We couldn't, of course, review every show, but there were some clips that we wanted to pull, and we definitely had to go back to March Madness when Kamal and Felix began their sports talk show, and we're excited for them. And their sports talk group is growing, and they'll soon be debuting their merchandise, so you can get some of the cool sports enthusiast gear that they're going to have. I'm very proud of them, and thank you so much. We're moving on, and I want to just share a bit with you. As you may know, this year brought me to a new title, I guess, Gratefulness Journey Everyday Author. And writing a book in the pandemic has been quite an experience. And I'm very honored and privileged that people have read the book and made great comments on Amazon. I didn't pay them to make any of those comments. Those are all great comments. And so I share a bit from our Gratefulness Journey Challenge, because we did a 30-day challenge to get people to understand how you build these successful habits around gratefulness. And gratefulness is really important in your love journey of self, because you've got to create the kind of world with positive energy and positive flow and positive spirituality that will walk you forward into your destiny. And so that's why we believe that this gratefulness is transformative. It's powerful. And so I'm sharing with you a clip from the Gratefulness Challenge. And when I talk about a part of the book that I hope that you will pick up on Amazon, that has to do with my sweet sister, Vanessa. Thank you, Rhonda Brooks, for joining us. I hope you will click share. We're going to just play a short clip here. And I think you will. I thank you. It's Gratefulness Remembering. But in the Gratefulness Journey every day, page 21, it's talking about my sister, Vanessa. It says, I can recall often having Van, as we called her, read my email before I responded to a message sent by someone whose intent I perceived was to get under my skin. I'll tell him or her, I thought, I would say, typing furiously like a Mad Hatter wordsmith. Van would lovingly respond, what do you have to prove? That you're Herbert Holmes' son? You already are. My quick-witted dad handed me his sharp tongue on a silver platter, the largest part of my inheritance. You don't have to prove how smart you are, just be. But prove how kind you are every day. I watched her love those who mistreated her, still showing them a firm love that meant, I love you, but not so that you can keep harming me. So I guess I'll love you from over here, is an excerpt from the book I would have you to read. And I share that because what a day, as I am on my Gratefulness Challenge. And we are sharing this week grateful experiences for which we are grateful. And I had a grateful experience today, a couple of them. I had one in the wee hours of the morning with the Love and Stuff community, a bowl of laughs, and I consumed them all. But in this day, I've also had some challenges with people in communication. Has anybody ever experienced that? Where someone sent you an email and maybe with the best of their intent, but it lacked grace or civility or anything that seemed like you might be in relationship with that person, right? And it may have been you, it just landed on you a certain way. If you've ever experienced that, you should click love or I absolutely understand. And so it's easy sometimes to rifle off in response to that an email, a phone call that might get them where they got you, right? I had the experience of what I characterize in the book to finally leave out worry, to resign that there are some things and people that you cannot influence or control. They just are and will be. But you get the opportunity to quit. And so I had an experience with one of the leaders, and she said something glorious. She said, I quit. Now, what she was really saying is, I've had enough of this experience and I'm done giving energy to this experience. I quit. I resign. I am in flow. I am finally leaving out the worry or weight of the outcome of this. I resign. And with that exhalation, she described it as feeling amazing, as it feeling great, as it feeling burdens rolling off and lifting from her. And she was in that moment in peace and community and communion, I will say. I love that excerpt because it really characterizes how you can reshape energy and situations so that they don't impact your day. And gratefulness, in a lot of ways, is about the energy that you choose to bring to the space that you're in, the energy you'll allow in that space, and then the power of your awareness of that energy in that space, and your power of what to do with that energy in that space, and how it can positively impact others in that space. So you're watching excerpts from 2021, various excerpts, and one of our more popular shows, I think number 2 in popularity. I'm going to share an excerpt of that show, which is from our 36 questions that lead to love. And so I'm going to share some of the excerpt of that. And then I'm going to close with showing you some of the folks in the Love and Stuff community who have experienced various things throughout this year. And we just wanted to make mention of those things in review. You're watching Love and Stuff, and I appreciate that you're here. I hope you will click share and tag someone to join us in this discussion. All right, we're going to share this excerpt of Love and Stuff. All right. Of 36 questions that lead to love. All right, got some folks joining in and out. Almost there. Click share and tag someone to join us. Hope you will click share and tag someone to join us. Might be listening to me on another device. Okay, there you go. There you go. Of 36 questions that lead to love. All right. Okay. So somebody's listening on 2 devices, please. Almost there. Click share and tag. You got to turn the volume down. There you go. All right. All right. And I am excited again that everyone is here. We're expecting, I think, one more, but we are certainly going to get started with part 2, which is a wonderful, wonderful, I think we're going to have a great time. And so I shared last time about these questions, 36 questions that lead to love. We're going to find out if they do, or at least lead to an open door to explore the idea of love, right? And so 2 youngsters over 40 years ago, I said over 30, but over 40 years ago, ventured out into meeting each other as strangers, ended up falling in love and getting married. And they synthesized the discussion and questions and came up with these 36 questions that lead to love. And they did this wide scale research with other colleagues and early students in psychology and tested it, and it went viral many years later. And so here we are today testing it. We are testing to see whether the test works. And what a journey it has been to get all of these handsome and beautiful faces you see in the room just to participate. I'm going to write a little journal just about that part of getting people to be on board to participate. But seriously, it has been an interesting journey. I think even though people meet strangers all the time, I think creating a situation where you're going to meet strangers and have this intimate time can cause a little bit of concern for some. And for others, I think it was a great time. So everybody in the room, I think, has had the opportunity, though some people spent longer in their times than they should have. Everybody in the room had an opportunity to speak with everybody else in the room. Gerald, can you put your screen on, your camera on? I want to use this as a thumbnail, sir, so you got to put your face in. Gerald. Okay, so before we get into the questions, I just want to verify for the audience, and I hope that you all have clicked share on your individual pages for people to join us in this discussion. But because part one is doing well, people are watching it and sharing it still. And so I want to build on that momentum. So I hope that you will take a moment right now and click share and tag someone on your device. Do that right now, everybody in the room and everybody in whatever room you are in, click share and tag someone to join us in that discussion. Oh, there are folks there. Okay, fantastic. And if you drop your name in the comments, I'll be able to highlight you on whichever platform you're on, like Rhonda Reynolds Williams. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, so everybody in this room, with the exception of the host, right, had the opportunity to speak to everybody the opposite sex, correct? Raise your hand. I just want to take a room check. Okay. Gerald, we would want you to raise your hand, but your screen is off. So, you know, if you don't want me to pick at you all to show, get on the screen. All right. All right. And so everybody, is there anybody here that knew the person that you had your one-on-one with before you went in the one-on-one, knew them, I would say, well, or knew them, had a face-to-face discussion with them? Anybody knew anybody in the room and had a face-to-face discussion with them in recent time to say, I knew that person before I got in the room? Anybody? Okay, I see some heads shaking, some heads standing still, some people just looking around. Okay, making sure everybody, okay. I'm just checking. And so I want to talk now about the questions, because I want all of our viewers to print these questions out or put them on your phone. And I want you to try it out. And so I've got some sections that I have questions about that I'd like for you to answer it, how those went. And then I want you to talk to me or talk to us, the viewers, in general, about what was your experience like. And so the ground rule, right, is that this was not, as some may have suspected or guessed, my trial at playing Cupid. I play Cupid very well. I'm 15 for 15. And so, but I don't play Cupid for a living. Now, I might have to work out some, hang a shingle, but this was to test the test. I didn't say, for instance, Christina and Bilal is going to make a bomb couple, or Valencia and J. Gerald, Tasha and Darren. That never crossed my mind. I said, who are staples in the Love and Stuff and who have shown their support to Love and Stuff, and who can I count on to participate in an experiment where their feelings will not be hurt? I learned some stuff about me and some stuff about those people, because we started out with more people. So I learned that maybe I can work better at making those kind of choices a little bit. But I applaud you all for being so open-spirited and open-minded to participate in what could have felt like matchmaking. It wasn't. And if it does become a match, no one is going to walk away feeling like you're short-sighted, because a match that's going to happen is because the two people connect and explore it, right? And as adults, that's how it happens. You might meet two strangers that you like, and at some point you're going to whittle it down to one. If you're Christina, you might meet 6 men that you like, and you're going to have to whittle it down to 1, hopefully, right, Christina? If you're Valencia and you're in the love and stuff, you might have 5 men that want, but at some point you might have to whittle it down to 1. You see what I'm saying? Somebody might say, Darren, marry me and fly and move to New York, but he's got to decide New York or Georgia or Florida, right? At some point down the journey, in whatever capacity, you're always going to have to pursue 1, right? Hopefully you're not going to pursue 3 and not tell the 3 about them. That's another show. But if there is the opportunity to be open and you learn something about yourself or somebody else, I think it's a successful thing if it's opened you up. Okay. So I'm going to share the screen because I want to ask a few questions and hear your thoughts on a few of them. And then I want to open it up for you to talk about your journey with each person. And I really hope that everybody will talk about their journey with everybody and feel comfortable that, you know, if you didn't connect, that's okay. And if you did, that's okay. You know, and if you connected with more than one person, that's okay. Right. And I hope everybody feels that way. So you won't be like, wait a minute, I thought you was feeling me. I was feeling you and this person, but let's explore. Right. And I think everybody is, I trust that everybody is open to that, right? You look open to it. You should see your eyes. Maybe you can see them. You look open to it. All right. So let me share the screen. Having said that, as I guess the sort of ground rules for tonight, for these questions, which I think everybody has commented on them. They really sequentially, they kind of open you up to be able to answer questions and open yourself up rather. Leroy Hurd has joined us. Thank you so much. Doug Island, thank you so much. I hope you all will click share. And I hope in the room that you already did click share if you're navigating to devices, just to have more people join us and be engaged. I love all of the questions, but a couple of them jump out at me a little bit more than others. And I wanted to ask, how was the discussion in this set 1 of this question? If you were able to live to the age of 90 and retain either the mind or the body of a 30-year-old for the last 60 years of your life, which would you want? I'm just curious, how did that question and answer go? Anybody want to share there?
That was easy for me. It was body right off rip.
Okay.
But what was funny is most of, if I'm not mistaken, all of the guys actually chose mind.
All of the guys chose mind. Mm-hmm. Did other ladies choose body?
No, I chose mind.
So fellas, when Arya said body, how did that land on you? How did that land on you?
You know, it's funny, we talked about it. And, you know, I said, like, for me, I don't want to be sitting in the corner drooling, you know, and I got this body that I can't do anything with. So I'd rather be able to use my mind and maybe have some semblance of a good life. So, and then just thinking about her, you know, her response, and I'm trying to remember, was pretty much, you know, she wants to be able to still be able to do things and get around and enjoy life, you know. So, you know, take some medication for what you know, you may be lacking somewhere. So,
I mean, if I forgot, it might not have been too important. So let's just let me, if my mind go, at least let my body be able to fix it.
Okay. You want to be Doris Day until the day Jesus calls you. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know what? And that gave me a spin on my answer to say, okay, yeah, maybe so. You know, just made me think a little bit about what I said. So it was a good exchange.
Okay. And I want to hear from J. Gerald or Darren. How did Arya's answer land on you?
Arya's answer was a trip to me, and my first thought was, okay, Commodore is going on over there, brick house.
That was your first thought. Was there a second? I just want
that was it. I can imagine what she's working with. If that's where she at, that's what she's working with. But Christina's answer was the most interesting to me.
Okay.
Christina's, can I comment on that at this point?
Sure.
Christina said 50-50. She won't have her body working. She won't have her mind working too. That was interesting to me.
Okay. All right. And J. Gerald, when you heard Arya say, did you think brick house? What did you think when she said that body?
I I just thought about, you want to work with that body.
Okay. All right. Did that open you up any more to be more intrigued about Arya with that response? Did that open you up, or did it close you up any?
No, neither one. Well, of course, the whole conversation was open, period. So it didn't open or close it.
Got it. Okay.
I think it more continued it than anything else.
Got it. Cassandra Rice has joined us. Willie Rogers, thank you both for joining. I hope you will click, share, and tag someone to join us in this discussion of part 2 with everybody who has participated with everybody so far in this 36 questions that lead to love. The other question in set 1 that I wanted to ask, among many questions, hear your discussion. Name 3 things you and your partner appear to have in common. So did you find out that you had a lot in common, not very much in common? Talk to me a little bit about your answers around the commonality you share. Everybody at once.
Well, music was a common thread for all of us. Laughter was a common thread for all of us. So we had a good time just laughing and talking and cracking up about these questions.
So laughter, music, what's your third?
I'm trying to remember, was it anything that we all had?
Or one of the ones that stood out to you?
I think the third was all different, actually.
And did any of those 3 stand out to you?
Well, I think one of them was that we were happy to be doing this.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Anybody else want to share the 3 things that you and your other partners had in common?
I think faith showed up as a third in most people's discussion.
Okay.
That faith, but the humor showed up often, and music showed up.
Okay.
Often.
For you, Christina, was there any differences than what Arya and Valencia experienced, or Tasha, chime in?
Yes. With a lot of the fellas, we have daughters.
Okay.
And I think, again, we like to laugh, I think one thing was really good is that we could communicate well. Like the conversation was flowing really good, and very easy to talk to. So those were kind of the 3.
Okay. And Tasha, what about you?
They named them all.
Okay. Fellas, did you want to add anything?
I would say family and open to love.
Okay. And open to love was one of the answers to that question. Is that why it took y'all so long in one of these rooms, Jared?
No.
Okay.
No. It took who too long in a room? The proctor came in and shut it down.
Shut it down.
Leave the room now.
Shut it down. It's a fire in this room and I'm putting it out. Okay. Let's see. I want to move down on my, let's see. How do I do that? Let's see. Okay. Did I do that wrong? Now move. Yes, it is. Okay, cool. All right. I'm going to set 2. Because there were some questions we talked about in part 1, and we'll double back because I'm sure you're going to kind of expound on some of the things you shared now that you've met with everybody that were from set 1. But I wanted to move to set 2. I wanted to know what your responses were like around this question, or 2 questions. I think it's a 2-part. Is there something that you've dreamed of doing for a long time? Why haven't you done it? What was the conversation around that set of questions?
Yeah, that was interesting.
Righty, well, my answer was having kids and getting married. And I haven't had kids because I've never gotten married. And I've not gotten married because I don't know. Y'all tell me, somebody's son gotta want me.
Okay.
Is that what Arya said to you fellas?
What was that, Marcus?
Is that what Arya said to you in her response?
Yes,
absolutely.
but not the last part.
Okay, I didn't think she did, but I wanted to hear it.
No, I said because
Too funny.
when he shows up, then hey, but until then, I can't tell you why. I ain't married.
Okay, all right. And so fellas, chime in, and some of the other ladies, how did the conversation around that go?
It went okay for me. Mine was, by me having so much medical history in my background, I should have been a nurse and now I just don't want to. But it was some of the men that I talked to, they said they need to finish their book. And I think it's just awesome that they got a half done, but just need to finish it.
And when you asked why haven't you done it, what did they say?
Well, one was just like me when it comes to a whole lot of stuff in my life, procrastination. And the other one was just because it's just not perfect yet.
Okay.
Which is understandable.
Okay. I was going to ask as a follow-up to that, Tasha, whether or not that raised a flag, but it sounds like no.
No, it didn't. I mean, it didn't. I understand when you want something to be put out perfectly when it's reflecting on you. You know what I'm saying? The procrastination part, since I procrastinate a whole lot dealing with myself, I can't throw no shade there.
Okay. Anybody else around that question? Is there something that you've dreamed of doing for a long time? Why haven't you done it?
I see, Marcus, after talking to the ladies, my answer was light. My answer was, I just need to be on a, tropical island someplace. And, I just haven't done that. So, so hearing these ladies with these deep answers, I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Am I just not that deep? Because I just want to be on a vacation. And then we come into COVID and I'm not going to fly. So that just prolonged my time of being on a tropical island, because I had this milestone birthday. So, that was my thing. Like, hey, in 5 years, this is where I'm going to be. But everybody else is talking about, like, I'm here and writing books and this like that. I just want to be on an island and having somebody bring me some drinks. So
most of the guys I talked to said, I'm sorry, most of the guys I talked to were saying travel, and mine was travel. And whether it's COVID or not, mine is I just haven't been out the States in a really long time. But I heard a lot of the books and I heard a lot of travel. So I think everybody's deprived of a vacation.
Got it. And this was something that you considered yourself having dreamt of for a long time, travel.
And I think the word dream is kind of the issue. I think that when people think dreams are kind of hopes and wishes as opposed to purposes that you haven't quite yet attained. I think that dreams can sometimes get us in that temporal thing as opposed to, is there a purpose that you haven't fulfilled? And then you're looking at, some depth. So, Bilal, it was cool, that was just.
That's true. Because, my dream was just to be on the tropical island, and so it really, when I saw the word dream, I was like, yeah, that's what I've been dreaming of for a time. And I wasn't really focused on purpose, or how I have a life-changing event.
Understood. And I'm wondering, did that land on the women different than the man?
They were like, he is shallow.
Oh, no, not
I'm
at
just
all.
wondering.
We did not.
Okay, I'm just wondering. Okay.
No.
Anybody else want to add to those sets of questions? Okay. The other one that some of you skipped the last time, I'm hoping you didn't skip it this time, even if you don't give us the details of it. What was the conversation like around what is your most terrible memory?
I answered it this time.
Okay. Do you feel cheated, Bilal, that she didn't answer it with you?
Well, again, Mr. Proctor, you was rushing us. So,
well, the truth of the matter is you all spent more time. See, I wasn't going to tell on you. I was only going to tell on Jay Gerald, but you all spent more time in the room than you were supposed to.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm done telling on y'all. So yeah, some people got stuck at questions and they didn't make it all the way to the end. But okay.
Well, I found out, I'm sorry for interrupting. I found out that last week I was still getting over the funeral that we was just coming out of. So it was still kind of touchy for me. and it was still somebody's death that was my answer for the question.
Is there a consensus that that answers were around death?
Yes.
Yes.
For most people?
Mine was a bad first date conversation.
Okay.
mine was about relationships. So
relationships.
It wasn't about death, but it was about relationships.
Got you. Anybody else that was non-death?
Yeah, mine was non-death.
Okay.
But it was a traumatic experience.
Okay. And what did you gauge the reaction of the person that you were sharing that with? What was the reaction of the person that you were sharing that with?
They was like, wow.
Okay.
It was, if it wasn't death, it was real close to it. So yeah. And each of the ladies that I spoke with, it was like, wow.
Yeah. And even with me, it was so funny. At one point, Bilal was like, "No, I'm just gonna pick that one for you."
Bilal said what now?
He said, "I'm just gonna pick that one for you," because I was explaining to him why it was so horrible. He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna just pick that one for you. That's your terrible memory, don't we?"
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Okay. Also last week, another question that I asked that I want to ask this group as well. What roles do love and affection play in your life?
That was a good question. Yeah.
What was your answer, Bilal, this week?
Well, it's huge because for men, we may not on the outside show our sensitive side, but we do crave love and affection. And so to be able to, well, first of all, let me just say, because I know that the call wasn't recorded in the room, I didn't have, you sitting in a seat watching us answer these questions. I was able to be a little forthright and more honest. And the ladies made me feel, a little safe that they weren't going to run out with bulletin boards like, look at this dude.
So you didn't see that little hidden camera? You didn't see the hidden camera?
He was there. He was there for a while.
I sweep my house. So no.
So you felt comfortable talking about love and affection with these ladies. And you're a pretty private person. So that sounds like a pretty move on the yardstick for you.
That was a move on the yardstick. Absolutely.
And do you regret being open about that? How do you feel about being open about love and affection with these ladies?
Oh, not at all, because you know what? It allowed me to grow, actually, to maybe if I have to have that conversation, in the future, it's easier to have now. So this was like a practice run, so that I'm able to be a little more open, without having to say, I'm still going to hold back because I don't know what your intentions are. And, until I run your background check, credit report, and all this other stuff. So no, it was very enlightening.
Okay. So that was an excerpt of the 36 questions that lead to love. And I'm going to come back to that in a moment because I'm sure you want to hear a little bit more from those 36 questions that lead to love. Tonight's episode is about taking a look back in 2021 of some of the many things that have occurred. And I wanted to share some things that have occurred within the Love and Stuff community. I'm Marcus Holmes, the love activist. And if you're watching us from inside of Love and Stuff community, the sweet spot of tonight's show, you can join us in that group, which will be on a journey for 12 months, starting next week on self-care. And if you think that you need to up your self-care game, you want to join inside of Love and Stuff for that exclusive content that you will only get there. If you're watching us from the Marcus R. Holmes page or from Twitch TV, a couple of people have chimed in. Dartoon Bigoso has chimed in from YouTube. Thank you so much for coming in. And I hope that you will click share across platforms. But inside of the Love and Stuff community, I see Lisa Dean has joined us. Stacey Jones has joined us. Lady Veronica Mahone. Timothy Dennis has joined us. Marilyn Hamilton, thank you so much. Arnaldo El Maestro Jimenez has joined us, one of our Love and Stuff community members. I just wanted to share with you some of the many things that have happened this year with some of the folks that are in the Love and Stuff community. And of course, I just mentioned Arnaldo and Gabby have given us our first Love and Stuff baby. Here's a picture of their beautiful baby. And I'm just so excited for them. It is a sign, even in the midst of a pandemic, that life is moving forward. And that is a gorgeous baby. Isn't that a gorgeous baby? So congratulations to Arnaldo and Gabby on that beautiful baby. And then what else do we have here? In the Love and Stuff community, I wasn't the only author. We had Ingrid Poole Curtis, who has authored her first book, The Many Faces of Me. And kudos to her. She has gone on a book tour during the pandemic and is selling her book. We're so proud of Ingrid. This has happened in the pandemic in 2021. Thank you so much for all that you do. Also in this pandemic, she's an author, but she also has been sharpening sessions and having sessions, Clubhouse and everywhere, Zoom. This is Tabitha Goodner. And if you want to sharpen yourself to be your very best, you should join her. I'm sure she'll be continuing those in 2022. She did that in a phenomenal love retreat that she did in the summertime. All of these wonderful things. Tabitha Goodner, also known as Lady Dorcas. Also in the Love and Stuff community, there's been love flowing. Love has been flowing in the community. Very recently, Rashida T. Marie got a ring. And she's not the only one that got a ring. Sonia Charisse, who's one of the faces of our gratefulness journey every day. Sonia Charisse is set to be married and very happy, as you can see in this picture there. Congratulations to the both of them. Also within the Love and Stuff community, Arya Moody has been knocking it out as an actress, being seen across the screen in Cain and Abel and many other movies that have been portrayed on platforms as Amazon and other platforms as well. We're so very proud of her and all that she has accomplished and is accomplishing. But in this 2021, she's been knocking it out the park. Speaking of authors, Valencia Edner is an author, but she is also working on her doctorate. And so she's author working on her doctorate and doing many more things in 2021. And we're excited for her. Tasha Green, who has had some life-changing surgery, and you're going to hear more about her story soon. So these are things that have happened in 2021. And in 2021, this guy here, Darren Williams, received Teacher of the Month this last month for his great work that he's doing to mentor young men and mentor students in school. Congratulations to them all of many things that have happened in 2021. Also in 2021, we've had to say goodbye to some folks. And hopefully we will have a chance to close out with their clip. Wasn't playing it, but we said goodbye to our angel Lynetta Shaw back in March, and Julie Stewart, who was an active member of the Love and Stuff community who slipped away from us. Both of them now angels on the balcony of heaven. And we will always remember you, Lynn. We'll always remember you, Julie. And so we're thankful for them. I'm going to go back to our 36 questions that lead to love. I wanted to come back and make sure that I covered some of the great things that people are doing in the Love and Stuff community, and looking forward to doing many more great things. Take a moment and click share as you hear a little bit more about 36 questions that lead to love. And if it's of interest to you, your interest is being piqued by this, drop us an inbox. We've got some more folks from LinkedIn joining us. Thank you so much. This looks like a different language. I can't read the name, so I just thank you for being here. I hope you understand that I'm saying thank you. I'm going to work at all of our overseas friends so that I can communicate to you more effectively. Thank you for being here, and I hope that you will click share and tag some of your YouTube followers to join us in this look back at 2021 as we are on the staircase, I would say, of 2022. We're going back to 36 questions that lead to love. And if it's piqued your interest and you want to participate in the next cohort, it's just 36 questions that we invite you to ask any stranger that there's some initial chemistry or attraction to. and see if these questions lead to more exploration in that relationship. That's what we did with some folks who may have seen each other in the community but didn't know each other at all. And we paired them up in Zoom in groups, one-on-one in a break room, and they each asked each other all 36 questions. And from that, they explored their connections and relationships. And so we'll talk more. We'll have them back to talk about how that panned out for them. But if you're interested in being a part of this 36 questions that lead to love, inbox us at Love and Stuff. Or if you're on Twitch TV or YouTube, inbox us there, leave us a comment, and we'll be happy to give you the initial screening that we do and then involve you in the 36 questions that lead to love. You got to be open to meeting new people, open to answering all of the questions that would be asked. And I think it's a great thing to have on your phone as a conversation piece. You will be surprised at how well it will work. I think you will be pleasantly surprised. It will tell you if you're connecting deeply with somebody or not, if they're red flags. It's the questions that you want to ask. So we're going to go back to a little bit more of that. 36 questions that lead to love. And I am just excited to be able to share it with you. 36 questions that lead to love. Dialogue or interchange.
I'm going to say mine was more towards my children. Since they became teenagers, we've actually grown closer to each other. We've shown love, say I love you, shown more affection. As far as like my daughter, we had a little spat today, a little argument, but you know, at the end of the day, we love each other. We gave each other a hug and a kiss. So I obviously, love and affection is not really in my life right now with a spouse or a male. But as far as with my children, that's been the forefront currently. So that was, and I think a lot of people had some similar type that, you know, that's important to them in any type of relationship. But a lot of the fellas said that they had some love and affection. So
okay. And how did that land on you, ladies, for the fellas like Bilal and the other fellas to say, I got love and affection? How did that land on you?
I gotta be me, brother.
Say that again like me.
Say it like you think you say it.
Yeah, how did I say it? How did I say it? There you go.
Said it to me like that, so. No one said it to me like that, but
nope. No one said it to you like that.
Only one I knew.
No.
Well, let me ask this.
Said it to me like
okay,
that.
let me ask this. Christina, did you hear love and affection, or was that your embellishment?
I ain't gonna tell. I'm gonna just say that they said they had some love and affection that they like, that they do share. They do share when they're in a relationship.
Understood.
So
and,
they weren't really directing it to Christina. They were saying that they have it to give.
I understand you were the only one in the room at that time. So I gotta redirect the question again. How did it land on you though? Did you get love and affection like you said?
I felt that they were being honest.
Okay. Did it land on you like it was some warm and fuzzy that they were opening up to you in that way?
Maybe one or two could have. Yes.
Okay. And was that different for you, Arya, Valencia, and Tasha? Valencia saying, I didn't get it that way, but I'm
no, but I think that that's about interpretation and the way the question was asked.
Correct.
So
thank you.
The question was asked matter of factly, how important is love and affection to your life? And the answer is very important. And it's something that I require if I'm going to be in a loving relationship. Then that's a very pragmatic answer, very practical answer. It wasn't asked in a way to be like, so hey, how's love and affection?
Right, correct.
Right.
That's how Marcus wanted it to be asked. That's not how it was asked.
No, I just heard how you. I was writing on your.
But they were saying it.
Not mine. I wasn't in the room.
They had love and affection that they obviously, if they had a spouse, they had that within themselves to give. But at the end of the day, I was talking about kids. They were not.
Right.
I'm gonna move from that some got pragmatic answers and some got maybe a little more passionate answers.
So let me
whatever
say
the reason.
Let me say this. Because it said how important is it in your life? And
it didn't say that.
Huh?
It didn't say that.
What was that?
Well,
what roles do love and affection play in your life?
Right.
maybe you heard in that important, and that's good. But you know, for the question, what it says is, what roles do they play in your life?
Right.
It didn't say what priorities or how important,
so,
but that might be how
what
you
I'm
heard.
saying is, because it said life, I'm on the life, and it didn't say relationship. My answer was about my family and about how important is it to have that affection and that in my life, and it's very important.
I understand.
So that's why I went to I didn't go to the relationship.
I understand, and you could have gone to the relationship, and that somebody who you might be learning more about might want to know what roles love and affection play in your life, you know, as to what you might want them to play in parts of your life, such as a relationship. So it could have been heard different ways, and I think I understand. We heard the question different ways.
I think I heard it wrong. Maybe it was me.
No,
I don't know if you heard it wrong. Don't back down from it. You just got a different response. It's okay.
You didn't hear it wrong. I responded to it from both sides of the coin.
Absolutely.
I'm a super affectionate person. So I have friends who are like, girl, if you don't stop touching me, and I have to remind myself, oh, everybody don't want to be touched. I went from the aspect of how I am with my friends and how I would with a spouse or a mate.
Right.
So I think it wasn't that you heard it wrong. I think it was just that y'all talked about it, and that was the subject you brought up, and that was the subject they brought up, and that's
right. Yeah, I don't know that anyone is asserting that it was heard incorrectly. I think, like, I'm looking at the comments, and Rhonda Reynolds, I think, is capturing what I'm saying. People have different interpretations of the question. That's not correct. Wrong.
I agree.
Yeah,
because for me, it was important because of what it kind of was on the heels of, you know, because later we're going to talk about one of the questions was about family, and my family was not very demonstrative about love and affection. My mom was not, but I require it. You know, in a romantic relationship, because I didn't get it.
Yeah.
So you got to know why it's important for you. The role it plays is very important because it's something that I didn't get as a child as I wanted to. And so therefore I refuse to not have it as an adult.
Got it.
There you go.
And Marcus, and let me say, you know, though I didn't have Al Green playing in the background, love and happiness, maybe I should have, but I think depends on the individual and depends on the time that we had. You know, we talked about, you know, relationship, how you interpret that love and affection in a relationship, how you interpret that love and affection, you know, even with your individual family, like children and things like that, and even with parents. So I think it kind of morphed all over the place, depending on who you were talking to as well, and depending on how much time, you know.
Yeah, even if you have more time.
You know, moderator Marcus, you weren't there with me and Arya. So, you know, we felt a little more relaxed. You know,
I understand, but you were only supposed to use an hour, but I hear you.
I think that's what we kind of did. So, yeah.
Okay. I'm trusting your kinda. Yep, gotcha.
Kind of did.
Okay. I'm gonna move on. I didn't hear from Darren in there. Shake him. Shake him. Shake him. All right. I'll double back. Last question in set 2 that I want to hear about is, how do you feel about your relationship with your mother? What was that conversation?
That was a good one with everyone I spoke with.
Okay. How?
And I'll speak on that one immediately. Me and Mama thick as thieves.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he ain't no mama's boy. Don't get it twisted.
But I ain't a mama's boy. That's right. Thank you, Arya. I'm not a mama's boy. That's right.
Okay. And is that what he told you, Arya?
Yes.
All right. Okay. All right. Good. And what about the rest of everybody else? Darren's thick as thieves with mom. What about everybody else?
Everybody loved it.
Nobody had a problem.
I did.
Me too.
So mine was that I wish I had a closer relationship with my mother, because my mom is a boy mom. So me being the only or the youngest girl, I have an older sister, but she wasn't in the home. I was saying that I had to kind of develop into let me love her more, because it makes me feel better. Kind of like we were saying, the intimacy and affection. I didn't get it from my mother. I got it from my dad. My dad was basically it. So she was like, here you go. Here's your daughter. And so I didn't get both sides of it, even though she was wonderful and supportive in everything I did. I didn't get the motherly thing. So that's what I've had to actually morph myself into being more like a motherly type to my daughter, because I would see the characteristics from my mother of not hugging and not kissing my kids. I showed it, but I didn't actually act on it. So I had to flip the script for myself eventually and say, even though I didn't get that, I have to now do different. And my kids want it. I have to do what I didn't get. I have to give what I didn't get. So it was a little touching for me.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And mine was similar. I'm the only girl, but I'm the tomboy because I had two brothers. And my mother wanted to be a mom of a daughter, not a tomboy. Plus, my mother and I are a lot alike, so much alike. It's the difference in us is that the things that are really important to me, she either doesn't understand or don't care about at all. And I'm the same way. The things that are really important to her, I don't get it or I don't care. And so we had lots of toxic moments when I was growing up. Lots of miscommunicating. So it was harder, even though she loved me, and it took me a while to figure that out. So, but my mom is amazing, and I can talk about her all day long, but I'll hurt somebody else about her. So, it's just that weird, ironic type of relationship.
Got it. And James Williams has joined us. Regina Elmore, thank you both for joining. I hope you will share. We're talking to Valencia Etner, Darren Williams, Bilal Muhammad, Arya Moody, Tasha Green, Christina Smith, and J. Gerald Harvey IV about the 36 questions that lead to love. Valencia, what were you going to share?
I was going to share that I think that maybe for some of us who are without mothers at this point, our reflection of our relationship with her is based on in time relationship as opposed to the growing up thing. Because while my mother was not affectionate, we were very, very close. There was nothing I could not talk to her about. Mm-hmm. And I think I came to grips with the fact that just wasn't who she was. Mm-hmm. And she's been gone almost 20 years. Mm-hmm. So for me, the reflection I have of mother is that last time where we had no secrets, no issues. We were best friends. So that's kind of what I take from the discussion of mother.
Got it. Certainly a difference if your mom is, an angel in the balcony of heaven than an angel here, even if you have some angel issues with the angel, right? So very different. Okay, very good. I want to go to step 3, and then I want to hear from you all. I'm hearing from you, but I want to hear the things in your discussion. So in the next segment, I want you to talk more specifically about your one-on-one talks with individuals. And so hopefully this is a segue to that. Mayetta Harris Hall, thank you for joining us. Click share and tag someone to join us in the discussion on these 36 questions that lead to love. If you want these questions, there is a link that we can send you, or you can inbox us at Love and Stuff, because we want to keep it going. We do want to have more groups that are committed to participating. Don't have me put you out of the groups, please. But we want groups that are willing to participate. So let me ask this question. Where did they go? Tell your partner what you like about them. Be very honest this time, saying things that you might not say to someone you just met. So how did the compliments go and flow? Because I hope that was complimentary for you all. Was anybody surprised at what you heard? Did something stand out that was said to you? I see a lot of smiles. Did it make you smile like you're smiling? Share some of that, hearing from somebody who had just really had the first real sit down talk with you, and they're giving you compliments and you're giving compliments that's supposed to be honest, right? How did that land on you? How did that make you feel, and what did you hear?
So let me say, that the question itself surprised me. That it was so early in the conversation, but we had gotten to the point where we were in each one of the conversations that we were open enough that it was easy.
So J. Gerald, are you telling me that you skipped around because this is in set 3?
No. Okay, but by being, even though it was in set 3, this is early in you know, we're just starting talking about each other, finding out about each other, and to have that question come up even in set 3, it was easy at that point.
And so, tell me if you can, what landed on you as flattering or surprising? What landed on you, or what did you say that you got a reaction that maybe was surprising to the person you said it to?
I don't think it was surprising. I think it was just eye-opening that the other person was listening and feeling the vibe.
Did they say anything to you that was surprising to you?
No.
Okay. Anybody else hear a compliment that was surprising to you that you thought you hadn't expected that would come this soon in a conversation?
I think actually all of them were. It let me know that the guys were actually listening to me. And I was like, that's so cool. Just that whole idea that they were paying attention. It wasn't just, okay, let me hurry up and get through this because Marcus told us to.
Okay. And so you're smiling a little bit more widely than you normally do. How did that make you feel? Because it feels like it's a flashback to the feeling. So how did that make you feel?
I was happy. I had fun. I mean, I enjoyed it. I learned some things about the guys, and it was easy. I mean, the guys are great. It was easy to compliment all of them. Mm-hmm. It didn't take much.
And I'm trying to get you to focus a little bit on complimenting of you. How did that feel? How did the complimenting of you feel?
Oh, I always like a compliment. So it was fun.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. I was
Hey, not to interrupt mine, I blushed. I was
let her finish your phrase. Go ahead.
So I just said I was pleasantly pleased that they were actually paying attention and had picked up on some things about me that a lot of people don't see.
Okay, I'm gonna come back to you to ask one of those things maybe that they picked up on. Christina, go ahead.
I was blushing because, and I think some things I said made them blush a little bit because I think I told a lie.
Hold on right there. I want to come back to that. Hold on to that blush. Tasha.
What?
Did you? Are you over there blushing? What's going on? You okay?
I'm fine. I was disagreeing with Arya. I hope I pronounced your name right. Mm-hmm. Because some of the, as she said, they were paying attention in some of the comments that I got. Not comments, some of the conversations as well as what they said. I'm like, oh, okay. You know, they pinpointed, and it's like it's a whole lot of times where I'm always trying to hide who Tasha is, and they said it. You know what I'm saying?
And how did that make you feel?
It made me smile.
Okay. And so you felt smile is okay. Valencia.
Yes.
Compliments, how did it make you feel? What?
Affirmed.
Okay. All right. Let me go back.
Like, this is hard. That's a hard thing to just like talk about right here.
I see.
Some things you kind of want to, I feel like Mary, when the shepherds came, some things I just want to ponder in my heart. I don't want to share.
Yeah. And I feel like the shepherds too, like, what's in your heart? No, I'm
just... Can I say this?
Hold on 1 second, Darren. I want to double back to Christina.
Okay.
Who did you make blush, Christina? Who blushed?
I think Bilal blushed because I told him I liked his voice. Mm-hmm. He's like, my voice? What you mean? What you talking about? My radio voice? So it was cute. Because, and like I said, I think it's a vulnerable thing, and me and him had talked about that. So it was a little important in our conversation to be vulnerable that way. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know. I come from a sales and marketing whatever, but at the end of the day, I know how to compliment somebody, but I was real with it. Like, I really wanted to take that question as be for real and give a real nice compliment.
And so, Christine, I want to just turn it around. Who made you blush? What was that made you blush?
All made me blush. They
Say it
did.
again.
They all made me blush.
What did they say that made you blush?
That I had a nice smile.
Okay.
That that I was. It was like something that you want to hear.
I'm gonna stop you there because I feel like it's pondering in your heart, like Valencia. I don't want to get into your heart too deep. I feel like I'm just. I feel like I'm intruding into the heart space, so I'm gonna let that go for a second. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Arya, I'm coming back to you. Did you blush? Did they blush?
I don't think so. I think we all ended up with the warm fuzzies.
Okay.
Like we were all happy. It made us feel good. I don't know if anybody blushed though. I don't think we went into anything that was so, I don't know, that was so personal, maybe. That would make
feel like I'm in some
It was
hurt.
just cute compliments.
Okay. Let me
Yeah,
ask.
and that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know if it made anybody blush. I think the things that we talked about were character driven. So,
Smile isn't really that character driven, but I hear you. So I want to ask this. What were some of the compliments that you were given, Arya?
Now he wants to get personal.
No, I haven't gotten
my heart.
I haven't gotten personal yet, but I think asking, personal for me would be, now, Arya, what did Bilal say versus what Darren said, what Gerald said? You can still say general. He said, I'm a nice person. I don't know who said what because I really didn't have cameras in the room.
Well,
the only way I will know and the viewing audience will know is if somebody go to blushing when you saying it. That's the only way. So fix your face when they talk and fix your face.
Relate.
All right. So Arya.
One of the things that came up was my confidence, and a lot of people don't see that. So I love the fact that they picked up on that. One of the things that came up was my love of life. Yeah. And that is a testament to God because most of my life, no one knew that I was happy about life.
Okay.
And so
that's good. I don't want you to do more because now I'm guessing. I'm guessing into who it is. So let me let you go a little bit.
I'm not gonna tell you. I don't.
That's okay. I'm pretty good.
I'm joking.
I'm pretty good at guessing.
Yeah. You just know that couldn't be me because I'm not that deep, right? Huh, Marcus?
Wow.
No, I think you're very deep. Just for the audience, I think you're very deep. You just don't want people to know it.
Yikes.
So I'm wondering if you got
not giving out secrets.
I wonder if you got into set 3 and people start to really know, if you opened up for them to really know, oh, there is more to this guy than meets the eye.
So let me just say,
that's going deep. See, I wasn't going there. I wasn't trying to go there. I'm just trying to find out in general. Because
since we were
when I got to the section, everybody's smiling except Tasha was nervously smiling. But everybody else is smiling about getting the compliments. And I'm like, well, this is a good section. Because oftentimes people will lavish people with compliments, but they feel some kind of way about getting them sometimes. So I wanted to see what that was like. What was the dynamic when someone's giving you?
Oh yeah, I love to give compliments. It's just hard to take them.
I love getting them and I love giving them. I really enjoy giving them to all the men, and I enjoy getting them as well.
Well, that's good to hear.
It's not easy.
Because most people are really good at giving them, but not as good as receiving them. And I wanted to see how it landed on you, whether or not it
blushed
up or did it affirm, like Valencia says, something that
I blushed.
You blushed, Bilal?
You blushed? Okay. Christina telling on you. I wasn't going to ask who, but Christina's telling on you.
Yeah, he did. I mean, because I think, like you said, it caught him off guard. He was like, "What do you mean, my voice? Hello, my voice." You know what I mean? And then he played into it because it was like, "Yeah, okay." And the same too. When somebody said, "I like your smile," I was like, "So I smile more." I mean, it's just natural. It's just natural. When somebody said, "Oh, your hair's so pretty," it's been something like that. So. And sometimes we take the compliment and we flip it, like we diss the compliment, like, oh no, this whole thing, instead of saying thank you. Right. So it can get a little different when you're receiving a compliment. But I think there is an art in receiving it because the receiving is, if you see that in me, then I got it.
And I
it's funny because all three of them had me go, "Aw," at least once.
Right. Whatever the compliment was, if somebody's just giving you a nice compliment, whether it's your character, you're so smart, everything you say is cool. I mean, you cool to talk to. All of those make you blush. It's not just a look or something like that.
Got it.
So
I'm going to go back to Darren because he did have a point, and I'm sorry it took me so long to get back to you. But what I wanted to say, I love the placement of that question, because if you're on a path to open up more, compliments typically open you up more and cause you to reflect a bit. And I think it's taking you to an interesting next part, which I think I'm just going to ask one of those questions because I don't think I'm getting too deep. Darren, you were going to say something.
Yeah, and I remember what I was going to say after all of that.
Thank you.
That I was going to say that Valencia actually said the word that I had in mind. When I got the compliments, it was affirmation. I felt affirmed by these sisters.
And
it was a good moment.
How did you feel in that moment, getting so much affirmation?
It was a bit surprised.
Okay.
And the surprise was how forthcoming they were, how honest they were, and what they shared. Yeah, good feeling though. Of course, good feeling.
I think that's a pivotal moment because then there is already vulnerability type driven questions, but it starts to pour on a little bit more. And so how vulnerable are you feeling at this point? And are you vulnerable enough to share that embarrassing moment? How did that go? Vulnerable enough to say, what was the question right behind it? Was it an embarrassing moment? And when did you last cry in front of another person or by yourself?
Right.
You know, how did you feel about sharing those things, such a wide range of things, embarrassment and crying, though you could be embarrassed and cry, but embarrassment, how did you feel about sharing those things at that point?
I felt like it was a great range that to go from the compliment to go to the other stuff. And for me, there wasn't I didn't have any relationship to the questions sequentially. I had a better relationship with some questions than I did with other questions. And so it wasn't for me like, well, this one really made me feel vulnerable and opened me up so that I was ready to answer. It wasn't like that. Some of the questions I really gravitated to, the other one was just like, oh, really? This is in here?
Okay.
That was me.
And so back to the question about that, the embarrassment question. How did you feel sharing an embarrassing moment at that point?
I'm good with it. I'm good with it. Because I shared some embarrassing stuff. I really did.
Yeah. I see some head shaking. So he shared some embarrassing stuff.
It was funny though. We had a good laugh, all of us. I mean,
yeah.
I
think most of the embarrassing moments were a little bit comical. So
right. Yeah. And by the
Arya, when you say all of us, you mean with all of the guys?
Yes.
So
with all of the guys, we had a good laugh because by that time we had talked about so many things.
Specifically with Darren, ladies, you had a good laugh about his embarrassing moment.
It wasn't funny, but you can laugh now.
Arya, about Darren. I'm trying to get you to
yes, his embarrassing moment, we both had a good laugh. He laughed, I laughed, it was hilarious. And he was like, man, I can't believe I told you this. Woo, this is fun. You know.
Darren wasn't.
I agree, it wasn't funny, but you could laugh now about it.
Right.
Yeah. He had an embarrassing moment that wasn't funny, but now since he's older, you can kind of chuckle. But when it happened, it was not funny.
So Darren, was it the same embarrassing moment that you share with all the ladies?
This is no to you, Marcus. It was not.
Okay.
Because I got a bag full of embarrassments. That's what I said.
Okay.
He did. No, he did say I gotta go in the bag. Okay. He did.
All right. And then Darren, on the question of crying by yourself or crying in front of someone, was it the same situation or did you pull out different things for each person?
No, that was the same.
Okay. And so ladies, what you remember of that, you don't have to share the specific thing. What was your reaction to him sharing that moment of crying in front of someone, or last time he cried or cried by himself? What was your reaction to that?
Empathy.
Okay.
Just to listen.
I'm sorry, Arya, you said.
I said, yeah, it was just to listen and just be in that moment with him.
Yeah.
Okay. And anybody else? Did that cause you to see him any differently?
For me, I seen him as he really is, because it was true to his character of what he told me, why and when he cried. But it was true to his character and the way he is in his life and what's going on with him currently or in his past. But it didn't make me feel like, oh wow, you're not the type of person I would think would cry or wouldn't cry, you know. So I felt, okay, yeah, I can see him in that moment and why.
Okay. Did that endear you? Did that endear anybody to him anymore?
Yeah. Yes.
I got one yeah, and everybody else is just looking at the screen.
I say no.
I was thinking.
I think because I was the first one to have it, the question. I was the first one he asked that he went through those questions with.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that getting to that moment was not as it would be more common once he got through that first one to have the conversation with everyone else. So if that last time, you know, that the importance of what that moment was to his heart was important, and it did endear me more because I realized he was sharing with me something painful, maybe for the first time since it had happened.
Got it. And was that the case for you, Tasha, or Christina, who's, hey,
Hi.
Was that the same for you?
I was just in the moment with him because I understood his feeling.
Got it. And my question is, did that endear you to him anymore?
I said no, because
No.
like I was trying to explain
I was
before,
trying to get
I
Tasha. Hold on 1 second, Christina. I was asking Tasha. I'm gonna come back to you. Tasha.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, it didn't.
Okay. And Christina, you said no, it didn't because you were gonna elaborate. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was saying no because like my previous answer, I felt that's the type of person he was. Like, you know, I didn't feel any I didn't feel like sympathy because I felt like, okay, that's, you know, I feel why he did that, why he cried in that moment, or the situation that was going on with him. So, you know, I understood, let's say that.
Got it. And did that make you like him more? I think is what I'm trying to ask you.
Absolutely. I mean, because he was open.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And so now I'm going to Bilal. His answer to the same question. Did it endear you any more to Bilal or change how you looked at Bilal from that point?
For me, it did.
Okay. And why?
Yes, for me it did.
Okay.
Because I looked at him like, I mean, he looks like from just looking at him, and you know, if this was like the first question, I would have thought he was somebody mean, but actually, you know, I understood, I felt sympathy, and you know, it made me like, I didn't look at him no differently though.
Okay.
But
So no,
I did feel like some of the pain and sympathy with him when he told me what it was.
Got it. And so back to my question, the other ladies, when you asked this question of Bilal, did that endear you? Did you like him anymore? Did that make you look at him any differently? Valencia,
I'm kind of feeling like the oddball out right now because I didn't have that kind of a response to any of the gentlemen when we got to that question. I don't think I could have liked them anymore. At that point, I already liked them. So it didn't do any more to make me like
you think as much as you can like these three gentlemen, you've already reached that plateau? Is that
right? At that point, I was already there. So it didn't, you know what I mean?
It didn't. You hearing me? Can you like them more than where you are now?
I mean, maybe, but at that point in the question, it didn't make me go, wow, I like him even more than I did when the conversation started. It just made me feel for them.
I just wondered whether or not you lost me when you said you couldn't like them more. I'm like, I'm not sure is that true?
I mean, I'm saying at that point. Okay, so the question didn't make me like them anymore.
Gotcha.
The response to the question didn't make me like them anymore.
Got you.
I
Not that you
already
couldn't
liked
like them anymore.
because they were just who they were. So,
Got you. I'm understanding. Thank you for helping me. I wasn't following at first.
I was curious more. So
Breakthrough,
that question
breakthrough. Marcus, you got a breakthrough?
At least one a day. Yeah. So Christina and Valencia, did it make you like him more? Could you like him more? I better throw that question in there. Could you like Bilal more? And did that question make you like him more?
Again, I was first one in the room with this, so therefore, it was a fresh question, and so it made him vulnerable. That was his first, like, I gotta open up and be vulnerable about this.
I'm going to ask you though, Valencia, couldn't he have judged that he was too vulnerable with you and then changed course with the other ladies? So it could be the converse too, right?
Yeah, it could be.
Okay.
But I'm not getting that from them. I'm getting from them that, and from him, that he was happy to finally be open.
Got it. Did you like him more after that?
I guess I could just say I was happy that he was vulnerable enough to share it.
Yes. And did that make you like him more?
That's a hard question to answer.
I'm gonna come back to you and let you ponder on it.
No. It's not even that. I can answer it. It's just that when you already have an affinity for a person, it doesn't make you necessarily like them more. It makes you see them more. But it doesn't necessarily.
And so when you see more of him, did you like the more that you saw?
You're stuck there.
And he ain't shifted.
I guess, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am stuck there because I'm thinking if you see more of an individual and you like the more that you see, then you probably like them more, probably, right?
Not if you're already to the point where you see that you can vibe with them already. You know what I'm saying?
But I guess in following that thinking, are you at a plateau of where you could not like him anymore is what I'm asking. And if you're not there, then seeing him more might be one of the ways that you could like him more. Learning more about him might be one of the ways.
Well, for me, I don't know that such a plateau exists, so to speak.
And when you say such a plateau exists, that you could like him more?
It's a cutoff. I like you this much, and this is as far as it can
that's
go.
what I was thinking earlier. So
I don't know that exists. I think that I like you, and it's just open. It's not a cutoff point. It's not a here, there, this much, that much. I just, you are a cool guy, so you are cool with me. It's just.
Got it. And I would imagine if, for just using Bilal hypothetically, if you all continue to go down a journey of exploring and learning more about each other, I'd be interested to hear if that shifts or changes that state.
I already told Bilal he's stuck with me, so he might as well just get used to it.
And I'm gonna come back to that just to make sure I understand. I'm sure Bilal understands it, but I want to make sure I understand what that stuck with is. Okay, Christina, I want to go to you. Did you like him more? If there is such a plateau, no, I'm teasing. Did you like him more?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna move on to Jay Gerald. Jay Gerald, when he answered that question, did you like him more? I'm still with the mores. Yeah, did you like him more? Jay Gerald answered the question and told you where he cried and whether he cried by himself. Did you like him more after hearing that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, Arya?
No, I just felt like I knew more about him.
Okay, Valencia?
The answer resonated where I thought it would anyway.
Okay.
So it was I wasn't surprised by what he said.
Okay, Tasha?
I just felt the same about him once he got to that question.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Which is, I already liked him about the time we got there. So.
All right. We are talking to Valencia Etner, Darren Williams, Bilal Muhammad, our senior associate producer, J. Gerald Harvey IV, Arya Moody, Tasha Green, and Christina Smith. 36 questions that lead to love. And I've just asked them the questions that were burning questions for me. I got some burning answers and some I'm still not sure I'm gonna ponder. I'm gonna ponder them in my heart, like Mary. But now I want to hear from them I know it's 9:38, but this is part 2 and it's fantastic. Brian Cooper has joined us. Thank you so much. I hope you will click share. Rhonda's laughing. I know. I'm just, pray for me. I'm hilarious. Only
Marcus, I'm gonna go first because you said 9:38 and I'm supposed to be going to another audition, so I gotta hurry up.
And I'm cooking.
Okay. Well, okay.
But thank you.
Let me share.
I'm hanging in there.
Let me share with you what I'd like to do. Because each of you talk with each other, I wanted to give each of you a chance to talk about your pairings. Just a second, okay? So, Arya, since you are otherwise engaged, and I appreciate your time. Arya and Darren, how was that meeting? Because you all have not met outside of Love and Stuff, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so are there questions or moments that really resonated with the two of you where you're like, not a connection or connection? I'd like to find out more about Arya. It was a pleasant time, vice versa. So I've given you a lot of excerpts of the 36 questions that lead to love. And I know I kind of created a cliffhanger there so that you can learn about Arya and Darren. And if you want to watch more of that 36 questions that lead to love, all you need to do is go to the Love and Stuff page and look under videos, and you can get that video, watch the rest of it in its entirety. But I wanted to just give you some parts of what has happened in this year, 2021, and there's more that we could have covered in 2021, and maybe at some point we will. But I want you to think about, having watched some of the different things that we've covered, the ground, not only that Love and Stuff is covered, because I'm pretty proud of the community and the people in it and the ground that they cover week to week. But I want you to now turn to focus on you. Think about the ground that you covered this year. Did you pursue the goals, the dreams, the relationships that matter and will fill you up? Did you pursue meaningful work and hobbies that are going to recharge you and refuel you? Did you experience loss? The loss of loved ones, the loss of a home, the loss of a job or a car or some prized possession? Did you gain anything? Did your investments increase? Did you gain new relationships? Did you gain, as Arnaldo and Gabby, a baby? What did you gain? Did you have tough obstacles, tough trials, and tough tribulations? Did you have great victories, great successes? I think we all should take a moment to look back, not to get stuck back, not to even get stuck in traumas or situations, because those are stuck points, but to look back to see the ground that we've covered. And may it give us hope and vision for new ground to cover in 2022. I don't know about you, but I'm still on an ever-present mission to increase the amount of love in the world and the community in my life. I'm still on a mission to fulfill goals and dreams that are mine, that I've had for some time that aren't yet accomplished. I'm still recovering from some of the losses and trying to learn the lessons that I believe the great quintessential love, God, the Creator, has intended for me to get in those situations and circumstances. And it all gives me hope to power and move forward. I hope that you will join me, that you will take what you've experienced and that you will use it to move forward in this earth school, that the master teacher, who is love, has a lesson for you and me to learn, to facilitate, and to share, that we can all pass our test and that we can all move forward to the successes that love is calling for us to walk into. So I hope that in the season, while we are in the midst of Kwanzaa celebrations, and some of you are in the midst of Hanukkah celebrations or Boxing Day celebrations or a Diwali, whatever you're in the midst of your celebrations, Christmas, St. Francis, whatever it is that you observe, that you will observe what has happened in the past, that you will not use it to hold you back, but you'll use it to inform you moving forward. I Marcus Holmes, the love activist. And whether you're watching us from inside the Love and Stuff, which I hope all of you will join so that you can get these exclusive self-care information, whether you're watching us from the Love and Stuff community page or the Marcus R. Holmes page here on Facebook, whether you're watching us on Twitch TV, and those of you that are still watching us, waking up overseas, joining us on YouTube events, I wish for you the very best. And I hope that you will join this beloved community and help us to increase the amount of love in the world. Have a grateful evening, and thanks for being with us across all platforms. I appreciate your being here. It means the world to us in the Love and Stuff community.